have an intention how you can attack or do something, then it also gets the same thing, reaction. That is the very first thing. By accident, if you are bitten also, if you have no fear, first of all, then the poison cannot affect you. That is also very much proved. That is one thing. And then, this many people have fear. That is the first thing. Because already their consciousness, they have this many aspects which I explained to you. They are already having fear. So, by even little, they are bitten, immediately they get fear. When this fear is there, immediately the poison starts acting very quickly. So what can we do is, there is a spiritual method, there is a sound potency, and then with this from any distance we can heal the person, that the poison is neutralized and they are saved from death. And this we were initiated. I myself have worked this out to many persons, and it worked.
For example, they have a bite in some other place, they will call him.
They call me.
And inform him, then he asks to put the phone. And then just
and then
by his mind he does.
I use this which I have initiated. I use this, and then immediately I speak to the person, and then it has worked. So far it never failed.
No.
This is one aspect.
At the moment it will go.
Immediately, the poison is neutralized. So with this what we do is, first of all we take out the fear from the mind of the person.
So it's the energy that
The energy, strong energy, and then it's cured. That is one thing. And from the medical side also, because we are basically working with homeopathic science, so through the homeopathic medicine also we are very successful in neutralizing the poison of the snake. So in these two methods we have a good success.
When there are symptoms, it is possible by homeopathy to cure.
Because we can get immediately the vital force starts producing symptoms. And from this immediately we administer the...
Within seconds it acts. Within 5 seconds it acts.
With the
Yeah.
homeopathy.
Very fast. We have many, because now we have our centers in many rural areas where there are snakes and scorpions. Many people come to our dispensaries. Within a few minutes they are healed. They go back smiling.
My name is Manoj Kurian. I coordinate the health work of the WCC.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your talk. I'm just intrigued by your combination of homeopathy and the ancient Indian systems, because homeopathy was initiated in Germany, and of course now we have in India as more homeopathy practitioners than the rest of the world.
Yes.
And of course it's very successful and
Yes.
very respected.
Yes.
How do you reconcile these two sciences?
Yes. Yes, this is because in India we have this Ayurvedic system since ages. And this Ayurvedic system is just not only the medicine but way of living, our thinking and our living and our understanding. So homeopathic system also has very parallel to Ayurvedic. Because in both these sciences we consider the vital force which is responsible for all the activity and also for healing. So both are very parallel. That is why we could go deep in homeopathic science very easily, because we have this background of Ayurvedic understanding.
So there is no conflict?
No conflict at all.
Yeah, when you have the tradition in the family, in that family homeopathy goes very fast. Then who goes to college and get it?
Because of this Ayurvedic understanding. Because basically we have this understanding from tradition. So therefore it was easy for India to receive homeopathy and develop this very quickly.
No, it is very interesting that what happens is now in sciences, I mean, of course I have not full understanding of what you are saying and the experience, because my own knowledge is limited, But in the modern sciences, of course, we have a lot of interesting new findings, which says, like in the ancient, earlier in the 20th century, it used to be thought that it takes a lot of generations or thousands and hundreds of thousands of years for change in the genetic material. But now it is being proved that you don't need thousands of years. It is,
Yes.
there is the science of epigenetics, where even by a few even habits can change your
Yes.
your very being.
Yes.
So science is of course evolving, but the challenge is, how do you, with this limited understanding of science, how will we progress, and what can be taken, and then from
Yeah.
sciences, from the sciences that has not been scientifically proved.
Yeah.
This is a ongoing.
So one thing is that these sciences are based on the law of nature, which is unchangeable. Because the basic laws of nature are never changeable according to what, because you can say about 1,000 years ago how our body and systems are acting according to nature, and today there may be changes in the environment, there may be changes in these reactions, but the basic changes, basic natures of how functioning of our systems, they are depending upon the law of nature. So, if any science is in accordance perfectly with the law of nature, then it goes always, it is applicable always in the same manner. So there is no problem. And regarding the scientific verification, so scientific verification means it is the proof on the result, because the result itself is a proof. So when you can find a precise result, then it itself can prove that it is applicable always. So these sciences, for example homeopathy, it was proved on the human constitution. So it was proved on the human constitution, and from this it was brought into a precise form. So the human constitution, so it is true that we have genetic changes and all these things can be brought, so this is wonderful. But basically, the basic aspect is vital force, mind and the faculties, these are always the same. You cannot claim that the activity of vital force will be different from, so these are basic things. So when a science is based on these things, can be applicable in all the times.
Also, you can see the simple things. We can, from generations and generations, we can see only through eye. We can eat only through mouth.
So these are basic things.
These are never
So these basic things will never change. So therefore, anything based on the law of nature, that was always applicable. That's how we feel, we understand.
You have a great advantage, because nowadays if you go to a doctor, they'll say, well, there's something wrong with your bone, you'll have to go there, and holistically, so you have the advantage of having an overview and problem, and many people are able to find much more solace.
Yeah, because cure also, because it is not only just on the level, but you could show it as a cure, a permanent solution.
This is also an art. This is also an art which should be applied. This is also you should keep in mind.
Yes.
But the advantage is that every human being has this inherited
Yeah, this is
from the divine plan.
yes.
So everybody can do the same work what Ananda is doing.
This is possible for every person.
It
It
is
is not limited for
This
few.
is the matrix, this is the divine matrix of a human being.
Because
So-
the cosmic law is same for always.
sun is sun for everybody. Science is science for everybody. That is.
They call it the human being is in the image of God. And this is the key for this.
Yeah.
So if you're in the image of God, then every human being has the same
Yes.
capacity.
think we have 3 questions. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, regarding to your question, I think it's really consciousness teaching and the art of living, but people have no facilities to get it. So that's why we should teach first, I think, also at the pharmaceutical institutes, at the World Health Organization, to raise awareness, you know, and because this is also the root cause. The root cause, and the masters, they also say that the scientific, they will make in the very near future, they will make a lot of progress, because in the last decades we have only evolved in science and technology but not in consciousness, and now we are at the point where we really need evolution in consciousness. And then when they will find out on the etheric level.
Yes.
So this is the etheric body where the root is then, and then when they will have proofs, that will make it much easier, I think.
Yes, this is, yeah, surely. This is an effort, a collective effort.
Yeah.
We have, it's a cooperative and collective effort what we have to do.
But we should respond to the call.
Yes.
If we make effort, it is very difficult. If they want it, then it is easy.
Whenever there is definitely, whenever there is a call for this, there is a...
Yeah, I wonder how we could
Yes.
introduce him in the World Health, for instance. That would really be
Yeah,
something.
these are only
We need
seeds
for
now.
real change.
It has to grow, it has to evolve into a tree.
Yeah.
Now, the essential point is you have to decide that you go in this direction. And then there is no way back. This is also very essential for every human being. To step out of this so-called modern life and go deeper. And if you do this, then you have the chance to go into this direction where we understand more and more cosmic laws and natural laws and principles. And then life
Yeah,
changes.
because we have no idea.
Yes. Because the aim of all these systems is to bring health. That is the
Yes.
ultimate aim.
Yes.
How to bring back the health. That is the aim of all these systems. So the only thing is how to apply, which is more, deeper and permanent. That is our consideration. It should be a permanent effort. Yes.
Awareness and consciousness.
From the very holistic point of view, I understand exactly. And for the physical practice, apart from homeopathy, there are some principles of Ayurveda.
Yes.
Because we know that Ayurveda for us is very difficult on the application. But there are some of the principles used for the physical point, from the physical point of view for
Yes.
health.
Yes.
Because the difficulty in Occident, Occident I suppose, is here is machine. I don't know how to say in English.
Mechanical, more mechanical.
Yes, it's all each more time, and even dangerous because they use radioactivity, they use a lot of things that it, on the contrary, provokes a lot of illness, more than pollution, the way of life, stress, and all this kind of thing. In this society, this is quite different, and Ayurveda is very difficult for us even at the same time, in the practice.
No, in the practice means Ayurveda, you have different applications.
Yeah.
In Ayurvedic, one is that to keep yourself prevented from so many things, that is one application. For that there are certain methods.
According,
Yes.
adaptive.
In your daily life, when you adapt certain things,
Yeah.
so how you can prevent many of the problems
Yes.
coming for your health. And already when you have certain problems, for that also there are simple types of solutions from very natural things in Ayurvedic science. Just a simple example, because you have asked the question. Simple example, some persons who are suffering from chronic hemorrhoids, for example. So normally when you go to the doctor, then they suggest you for operation, surgery. So when the hemorrhoids are removed, again you will get the hemorrhoids. So your surgery you will remove the hemorrhoids now, but you cannot stop them again growing up. If you switch to Ayurvedic, for example, with a very simple solution, because this I have given to many of people here in Occident, they have adopted also. You have, for example, aloe vera. Aloe vera, this plant, very common everywhere. Just you take, you have also the figs, the dry fruit figs. So, a simple procedure. You take a dry fig in the evening, cut it into pieces, put in a glass of water and keep it for the night. In the morning, you take a little piece of aloe vera, take the skin out, you have the gel, and put the gel with this and stir it very much, and with the empty stomach before you eat and drink, you take this. You do it for 40 days, your hemorrhoids will disappear. No need of any surgery, and they will not. So this is an example how simply Ayurvedic can be. Yes. This is one type of application. And there are for different, very deeper diseases also, there are different applications how you can, because my grandfather was a very great Ayurvedic doctor of those days. And he was doing so many things in a very simple manner. Very eminent cure with simple things.
Only this was the girl, is the priest.
Yeah. There was a girl who was suffering from tuberculosis in the lungs, and the local doctors, they know my grandfather. So they tried with those days also, and then they recommended this patient to go to my grandfather. And my grandfather has taken up this case, and he has identified two types of trees. One, and there is a big compound in a house, and when there is sunrise, the rays fall from one side of from one tree, and sunset is on the opposite side another tree. He made this girl to sit under the trees to have this sunlight through the trees for 40 days. And he has given just only water from we have a common plant, very common plant, holy plant, that water. And after 40 days, he asked them to go to the doctor and examine. There is no tuberculosis, and lungs perfectly normal. So it was how he used to do.
You know how to work with the nature, with the forces
They
of
have
nature.
in each country, they say the same
So everywhere,
used for illness.
in every country, definitely, because nature is so kind, it
Yeah.
provides a solution around you. The only thing you have to take it, that's all.
But the knowledge is lost.
Maria.
No, I mean, I just wanted to say that, it would be good to be able to prevent all these things, but we live in a world that's polluted. It's not really, I mean, I don't know, how do we then go about, it's polluted, the air is polluted, and we have to breathe. The space, the natural, we have to really take care of nature also. We can't just take care of the person, we have to make sure that nature is balanced, and this is not the way the world is going.
Holistic means all including also this.
Yeah, we have to take care of that. That is our
Because
responsibility.
we are made to live in a natural world, and yet our world is becoming more and more artificial. and
Yes,
it's
yes, yes.
upsetting the balance. I mean, it's putting all sorts of environmental pollutants. It's upsetting the ecological balance of
Yeah.
all kind of organisms and diseases.
Yes.
And
Yes, yes.
Yes, it is our responsibility towards because human being is like an elder brother in nature, all the other beings. surely it is the responsibility of the human being to take care of the other beings in nature like plants and so on, and also to keep balance, because human being has the capacity actually to keep this balance. But the only thing is, the human being has to observe the other beings, how they are behaving according to the law of nature. And if we take this also into consideration, for just a simple example, to how we have to take this from other beings. For example, when we are not hungry, then human being can be obliged to eat. But an animal cannot be obliged to eat when it is not hungry. Just an example. You take, for example, a cow. You cannot oblige a cow when the cow is not hungry to eat or drink. Impossible. By any means you cannot oblige. Whereas for the human being, you can be easily obliged. So in
Swiss chocolate.
oh yes, Swiss chocolate is yeah. So you see, either an animal or a bird or any other being except the human being behaves according to exactly to law of nature. Whereas the human being has the freedom, we have the free will. Nature has provided a free will to human being. We can decide ourselves whether to follow the law of nature or we need not follow the law of nature, it is in our. So, but if we follow this, and then we can have the capacity, we can use our capacity to protect and to balance. So any ill balance which we experience now in all the levels, that can be, we can trace it back how the human being started to behave in nature. This is where we have to retrace it, and we have to again rearrange it. That is what I feel, because when you observe there's so many events from our history and also from the current events, it is only human being which is responsible for all the imbalance.
Yeah.
Because we are at the verge of using nuclear power also for the destruction.
As one very short explanation on the time of today, as one of the masters of wisdom said, this situation is because you forget to share. So for hundreds and thousands of years, you didn't share what nature gives to you. And this is the result of this kind of culture. So mainly when we come, because the people were accumulating, and other people were suffering, and there was no spirit of brotherhood, no spirit of responsibility, and it brings us to the edge of self-destruction. This is true. You can meditate on this.
Yeah.
If you start sharing freely, open, with joy, then the life changes.
I have just yes.
Well, no. Carry on now, because it's part of what I shall be talking about.
No, for me, I think one of the fundamental problems of the modern of human society and the human race, in a way, is our lack of connectedness with the rest of the world, and our anthropocentric focus, where somehow we have so become inward looking as human beings. We have lost, like for example, if you look at the indigenous people and they would see a mountain and they would see spirits and they would see it alive, but we would see it as a mass of rock which could be blasted and mined for the minerals, and there is absolutely no respect to to the environment and to the creatures and the beings, you know. So when I tell, you know, when you have an insect at home, and I always insist that the children, you know, they take it with a tissue paper and take it outside and let it go. And I always tell them, you know, you cannot create even the small insect. And what right do you have unless it is going to harm you? Unless, of course, it is a tick or something, which would poison, you know, so in the sense, so which would, of course, you have to consider it, and even a bee, but I'm just trying to say is that we have become so, and this is also philosophical and it's also religious. We think we are, you know, so I think this is one of the fundamental problems.
To continue that a little bit, because one of the things that you said earlier was that health is an attitude.
Yes.
I entirely agree. But we live in a society that has been so affected by a, quote, scientific approach that you've got to prove everything, that for many people, they can't think in a different way. And what you're saying, and what many faiths have said, is that we have to look at life in a different way. And that we have to be at peace. And as you say, the energy, the force, etc., the life force there. And I have seen recently, I had visitors from the United States, and they came from the East Coast. And their whole being was dominated by fear.
Yes.
Fear of attack, fear of this. Oh, you can't do that. Why not? Because you could be attacked. Attack? What do you mean?
Yeah.
You know, and the whole approach in life was dominated by fear. And I think in our Western civilizations that's been exacerbated and also increased by the desire for wealth and all these things. And they are not the most important things at all. And in terms of sharing, you're quite right, Rudolph, to mention that, because all the great traditions again talk about sharing. And we have a monumental task on our hands, but it's not insurmountable. But in terms of education with our families, and above all also in our communities, because communities are extremely important in terms of the approach to life and where we live. And it's something, how do we go about that, approaching that? The United Nations has in its manifesto talks about respect for it and equality to all peoples, etc., etc., etc. But there are very few nations even attempt to put that into practice. And in our own lives, we have to put it into practice. And to give an example.
The point is, everything has to start within ourselves.
That's right.
Yeah.
We cannot change the world, but we can change ourselves.
But if one person changes, and then other
The
people in the community change, then you have a change of attitude.
Yes.
And that's the general attitude that we all have to be able to engage in. Sorry.
So the commercialization, there is one more thing is, the human being can come out of this major problems when because for sharing what is required is, the attitude should change it from commercialization.
Absolutely.
Because everything is now getting commercialized. Even the virtues are commercialized. This is the problem. So this tendency to commercialize is also, according to homeopathic science, it is also a disease.
Yes, this is competition.
It is a
Competition.
commercialized.
Yes.
So this is taking advantage of the other people, and so this is all. Therefore, it should be from education also. Not only this, the education. The children should be educated from the very beginning, so that from the very beginning they are made to cooperate, and they are brought in such a manner. This is very important.
I would like to add a note, because I was brought up by my father and he is my guru, and he never allow us to compete. He always allow us to share What you know, you tell to others. What you have, you can share with others, but never to go. You should not be a class first. This is not important for me. You go, you be good. That's all.